Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here with week 57 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is me, the LoneVaultWanderer.
And Noah's not joining us this week, but we do have a very, very special guest with us. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
Wait, hold on. I'm in the corner. I gotta be quiet for a second. Hold on. Wait, let me go over here. Hold on. Ow! I'm good. Hey, who's this?
Why do we even respond?
I'm trying not to laugh.
Hey, guys, how'd you get this number, man? I'm really getting tired of getting harassed, okay? I had no idea that was happening. I wasn't even there. Okay, what? Hello? Oh! No! Matt, is this Matty?
Yes.
Mr. Matt?
Yes.
Oh,
Hi.
I'm good. Hey, this is Ryan Alosio, Deacon. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Are you all right?
I'm good. I'm just relaxing, kicking it here in my tidy whities. You know, just chilling. Yeah, I'm good.
Part of me thinks he's not kidding.
That's probably the greatest intro we've ever had.
Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, before we were even recording, when he answered the call, he dropped 40 things as he entered the call. I don't know what you did. You knocked over 20 digits.
Yeah, not intentionally.
Yes, of course not.
Of course not, yeah. Anyways.
Regardless, this week we're doing things a little bit differently with this interview. Usually me and Lone and Noah will come up with the questions together and just fire away. But we wanted to start when we got these special guests on to include you guys in it and also kind of promote Ryan, kind of make it all about him and stuff. So what we did was we did a little Instagram cross promotion. And basically, if you guys want to follow Ryan, he is on Instagram. The link is down below. Also, his handle is on screen, as you guys see if you're watching on YouTube. And basically, what we're going to do is take your questions from Instagram and ask them to Ryan. But you had to be following him to basically ask them. And he checked because Ryan is really just up close like that. So, yeah, we have a bunch of questions to go through. And we're going to learn a lot more about Deacon tonight.
And be careful following me because I'm usually lost, so don't get mad.
That's
Dun. Yeah, yeah, cut that out.
Leave it in.
I had a lot of caffeine this morning. Way too much caffeine and cough syrup. Let me sit down here. Okay, go ahead.
All right, let's do it.
So this is your first Fallout interview, correct?
It is. I haven't engaged and gone to any of the events or done any interviews since Fallout dropped. Actually, I've been happily busy, and since I joined up on the Instagram community, then saw what a great fan following and how huge and great the fan base was, I thought, it would be cool to engage and to give back and be part of it. So I thought if people were interested, I'd jump on and see if we could do some questions and involve everybody.
Yeah, and really, we gotta thank the Instagram community, specifically like Fallout Temple, Spazzy, All Fallout. They all did a great job, kind of promoting, spreading, and we had over 200 submissions, which is really crazy. Usually we get when we promote a guest, we usually get on Twitter upwards of 50 to 100, and we have a much bigger following there. So to see about 200 questions on Instagram was really cool. And
I think once you leaked the nude Polaroids, that sparked a lot of
fucking running joke. You said this the other day to me too.
I'm just saying.
Running
guys,
joke.
Guys, are there actually leaked nude Polaroids, and can you send me an express copy straight away?
They were only for Ryan, but I'll share.
That is not fair.
I'll share.
No, I agree with you, Matt. I got to say the community has been just amazing on Instagram, and like you said, Fallout Temple, Spazzy after our whole snafu earlier, making everything rock and roll. The knowledge of the people out here on Instagram and the tightness of the community overall. It's almost like a giant web of friendship of a lot of people who have never met for the most part. I think that's phenomenal. It's so rare nowadays.
I agree. Yeah, that's a lot how Instagram is. Twitter is pretty good. And then the YouTube comments, and then there's forums. It gets worse as time goes on. But yeah, still, regardless, I'm just being honest, man. I'm giving Instagram and Twitter a lot of props.
Most things do get worse as time goes on. But.
Yeah. Regardless, shall we dive into the first question?
We shall we? Please, go ahead.
All right. So this first one comes from Ability Drain and Lone. We've talked about having her on, right?
Yeah, we need to get her on, actually.
Yes. All right. I just want to make sure because I recognized her name when I was going through and saw her, and I was looking at her stuff, and I was like, I do remember her. So
yeah,
she
has a YouTube channel.
She
Sorry.
does. No, you're good. I was just going to say she asked a pretty good question to start off with. She said, were you surprised to find that Deacon had such a fan following?
Was I surprised? Yeah, I really was. I really enjoyed doing Deacon. I had a unique part in it in that Deacon wasn't completely defined when I got to him, and my director, who was a fantastic guy named Cal L, believe it or not,
we've had him on.
Yeah.
Cal's an awesome guy.
He is fantastic. I've worked with a lot of directors, and he is without a doubt absolutely one of the best, most generous directors I've worked with. And he's a huge gamer, so he knows exactly what he's doing. So to have such a huge response to Deacon, it really personally was gratifying because there's a lot of my personality in him. It's not just like I was a hired gun and I just did their lines as written necessarily, although they had him carved out fairly well before I got to it. They also were very open to and were very generous in letting me contribute and shape his personality. So when the fans respond so strongly to it, it really feels like they're responding to my work personally, not just as the characters. So that's been really gratifying.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because Deacon was actually he was one of the companions I killed in my first playthrough. So I mean,
every single person that has played Fallout has DM'd me that they killed Deacon on their first go through. It's phenomenal. It's like a rite of passage. I would in fact to everyone out there, if you have not killed me on a playthrough, you must go through and kill me. Please think of a creative way to do it. The shots to the back of the head, not so surprising, not so creative.
Spit out my water. You must kill me. Like most players.
Yeah, I mean,
most people are like, you have to experience my character. It's like, no, kill me, end me.
Yeah, you haven't done it right unless you've killed me. But I actually would really love if people have creative ways of killing me and perhaps a screenshot. Would love for them to send it to me. I'm looking for the best deaths that I've experienced so far.
I always like the sneaky put a grenade in someone's pocket and watch them explode. I'll do that.
Is that a grenade in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? That should be a Deacon line. See, that would have been a good Deacon line. Yeah, this is kind of what Kal-El and I would do in the sessions. Not to deviate from your question too far, but when I'm recording, as the actor, I'm in a sound booth like that you guys have seen in pictures and stuff with the microphone and all that. And the director is on the other side of the glass, kind of like the same as a music recording studio, like you've seen in the movies where the band is inside recording and then the engineers on the boards outside with the director. And quite often in between stuff, Kal-El and I would start riffing, and I kind of stay in character as Deacon in that, and we'd come up with just bizarre and whacked lines. So I'm sure there's a couple thousand lines that I've recorded as Deacon that didn't make it into the game.
Really? Wow.
That are just the strangest things in responses to the Whirlybirds and the Mirelurk Queen and all kinds of bizarre stuff. So I hope someday.
Whirlybirds. All right, yeah, you gotta
totally release that.
You gotta give us an example.
Well, I mean, like for instance, one of the things that made it in the game is that Deacon didn't really have a fear of heights or any of that type of stuff to begin with. That's stuff that I was able to add in. I thought it would be an interesting dimension that he's really gung-ho in certain situations, but then he has this small, little foible of the heights and stuff. And so like his responses when he's going up in the chopper and that of the heights and about how they're going to die and stuff, that came out of those riffing sessions, and that was able to make it into the game. So that stuff that made it in with the Whirlybird came out of us kind of riffing. So that's one example.
Okay, I like that. That's awesome.
And then the stuff that didn't make it in, I can't really give you examples because some of it's off color, and the other stuff, if they ever do, And the other stuff, if they ever do decide to do more DLCs or something and include it, I couldn't really say because I don't want to give any spoilers in case they do.
Okay. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. So,
Alrighty.
yeah, pretty big following.
I'll
That's
go
good.
to the next question, which is a bit more personal, I guess. So Zeke, the Adam Cat, asks, how and when did you first start voice acting?
I'm very curious on this because I mentioned how I have like a very tiny support role in this new Oddworld game, and so I'm really curious because for me it was.
Hey, congrats! What kind of character, man?
Oh, it's just like I'm like gonna be like the voice of this race, and it's just kind of like very standard stuff. Nothing huge. It's really awesome, but it was like not like how do I word it? It wasn't like a professional invitation. It was like I got messaged on Twitter, and they were like, "Hey, you're a big fan. Do you want to be a part of this?" And I was like, well,
"Hey, that's pretty cool, man."
But I'm curious to hear your response to this, mainly because I have I think I'm not saying this in a cocky way, but a unique perspective that I don't know how that stuff actually gets started. When I was invited into a game, it was through Twitter, so I'm really curious to hear.
Sure, yeah, I'm not really sure either.
Lucky.
I started. Look, I started when I was 7 years old. I used. I'll bring it. I'll take you way back, and then I'll bring it up real quick. I was the kid. Picture a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid. I was the kid who was very quiet in class, doodling in my notebook all the time. When I would get home at the end of the day, I would immerse myself into science fiction and fantasy books and the video game stuff that I had available to me at the time. So I was constantly making up characters. Should probably have been medicated as a small child from talking to myself. I mean, quite honestly, I joke about it, but quite honestly, instead of basically giving me a lot of Ritalin and medicating me, they just put me in front of a microphone and let me talk instead. And now they pay me to do the same things they would have, medicated me 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good perspective.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation. So I started then, although I was terribly, terribly shy as a kid, my biggest fear was having to stand up in class and read out loud. I used to get made fun of a lot for the way I talked, actually. I'd have different people sort of, I don't know if I had more of a slur, a mumble or something, because I was really shy. So I used to get teased a lot, for the way I talked. And it's really funny now that so many people seem to enjoy it when I do different stuff. So somehow coming from being that shy kid, the place that I was able to find a voice and get some acceptance growing up was creating characters and putting on little shows and writing little stories and making little radio shows for my friends. So that naturally led into me getting into acting when I was a kid. I did a lot of theater in school, everything I could. Not saying I was any good at it or that they wanted me to, but I did it anyway. And that progressed into, as I got older in my teens, acting. And then I started doing some pilots and TV show stuff. And naturally from that, you just get involved in different types of acting. And I believe the creators from this game had heard my voice in some Taco Bell commercials, radio ads. So yeah, it was just a natural progression for me from my on-camera acting work. I've been an actor since I was a little kid then, to then I had an audition when I was 18 for an anime series out of Japan called Miyu. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Awesome.
So my first voice job as a voice actor was an anime, and it was for a cartoon called Miyu Vampire Princess. And I played Larva, a 400-year-old vampire. And it was great, man. I did 22 episodes of that, and it was the best training I could ever have because when you do anime voiceover and as the American actor, your job is they give you all the translations from the Japanese, obviously, and I then do the American version of it. But here's the cool part. The American words and the Japanese words are so different in their length and in their translation. So, for example, the American line that I'm supposed to say in the middle of a fight while flying through the air with a tear in my eye while killing someone, it may translate to, you have dishonored my family, and for that, you and all of your lineage must be put to death.
Epic.
But I may only have 2 seconds to say it because the Japanese translation is so short.
Oh.
So that
okay.
insanity, and then doing the physical act. If you were to have a video when I'm doing the anime stuff, I'm literally jumping around in the room with a pencil as a sword, doing punches in the air in order to get the sound of the breaths with the performance. And that translating from Japanese at the same time is 100 times harder than just doing the lines, and developing the character of Deacon. So that training in anime as my first voice job doing the series was invaluable.
That's insane.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
do they just like? Mike, what's up?
Wait, hold on 1 second. Sorry, I got a call here. Hello,
I love it.
Katie. What's up? I'm in the middle of doing an interview with Maddie. Hey guys, this is actually Katie Townsend who plays Kate.
I'm not cutting that out.
Hold on, I'll put you on speaker
I'm
here.
not cutting that out.
No
Hold on,
way.
baby.
MrMattyPlays, Matty.
Yeah, I've got so Katie, this is Maddie, and this is a random call from Katie. We're friends in real life. Say hi, Kate.
That's so cool.
Hi. Are you? Wait, you're doing. Wait. Back up. You're doing the interview now. I thought you were doing it last week. We were meant to do it together.
No. We were going to do it last week, but we switched it to today. So one of his friends is on in Australia simultaneously, and I'm talking to Maddie, actually on the air right now, talking to you. So I really appreciate you interrupting me in the middle of this. What's going on?
I know. I feel like we were meant to do this together, and now I'm jealous.
Tell her there's an open spot for her next week.
What's going on?
Love, we're meant to do everything together.
Oh.
That's right. I was actually just calling to see if you wanted to go see a film tonight, but we can talk about that later.
Oh, definitely. We'll go on the motorcycle or something.
Damn.
Yeah, go see Dead Film.
I'm sorry, guys. Didn't mean to bring you in the personal, but I'm sure they're glad to hear from you. As you guys know, this is Kate. And Kate, it rocks.
I like to think so. Have you told them who your favorite companion is yet, or no?
Everyone knows who my favorite companion is.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure.
Why do you always have to hear me say it out loud? You know who my favorite companion is.
I'm an insecure person.
So insecure. Yeah, okay. My favorite companion is Kate. My favorite companion is
There
Kate.
we go.
God, all right. You guys want to say hi to her? Here, say hi. Say hi, you guys.
Hey, how's it going, Kate?
Hi, Katie.
That's great.
I can't even hear them. Are you full of shit? Like, are you? I can't hear anything.
No, I'm actually talking. I'm totally lying to you. I'm not doing an interview. And I'm just
Deacon,
messing.
that's
I'm actually
perfect.
I'm in the middle of a bubble bath. I gotta go. I gotta rinse my hair. Okay. I'll call you back. Love you. Bye. Hey guys.
That was the
Sorry about that.
greatest thing that has ever happened on this podcast.
I think that
It is pretty
historic.
random. I gotta tell you. That's pretty random.
That is going to go down as one of the best things that's happened here. Yeah, I'm not even
Oh,
kidding.
I just have a call. Who is it? Another full voice actor. Funny enough.
Funny story, you guys. She's lovely, by the way. She's really great. Funny story is Katie and I, who plays Kate, we were friends. I met her when she first came from Scotland about 5 years ago. And we were friends. And it turns out we ran into each other. We're talking, and we both do voice acting and on camera. And for almost a year, both of us had been recording our characters for Fallout and had no idea that the other one was working on it because we both signed non-disclosures, so we didn't tell each other what we were working on. So we didn't know until after the game came out that we were both in Fallout.
So that's one of the questions that Greasy Mold asked. Is like, what was that moment like when you and Katie...
Wait, who asked? Who asked?
Greasy Mold.
Of course, Greasy Mold.
Great name.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said that naturally, but it's
I thought you were calling me on something. Go ahead. Go.
But, I guess it just kind of ties into what we're talking about now, where, it's like, what was that moment like where, like, you guys are like, holy shit, we are in the same fucking game right now. Like,
it was lovely. We actually were at a small Irish pub over in Burbank, and we were just talking about the last year and our work and what we were working on and what we were doing, hanging out, and talking about a project idea we had to shoot together. And the game had been released, so I could finally reveal that I was in it and stuff. And it literally just organically, I said, "Oh yeah, I just finished this thing, Fallout 4. I don't know if you're a gamer." She said, "Fuck off, you're kidding me." Or, can I say that?
yeah, curse your
Well, Well, that's what she said, as Kate is prone to do.
Naturally.
And we just had a huge laugh about it. We thought it was phenomenal. There's no coincidences in life, really. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Awesome. That's so surreal. What the hell?
Yeah, we're both pretty intent on at some point. Because I have a couple motorcycles. I like to build old bikes and stuff. And I occasionally will go pick her up and she'll jump on the back. We'll go get a coffee or something. And I said, one day, just for fun, when we're riding around, we got to find someone else like that guy in the Fallout sweatshirt and pull up and just to blow somebody's mind, literally be Deacon and Kate together and my motorcycles are kind of apocalyptic and old and beat up. It would just be the weirdest thing if I was a fan to have both of the characters pull up together on an old motor. Mind blowing. So
for everyone wondering, who Sweatshirt guy is, Ryan, do you want to catch him up on what exactly that is? Because that was like an off mic talk we had.
Just real quick. Growing up, being such a big fan of so many different films and actors and games and everything. That's what I always immersed myself in as a kid. That's why I ended up doing this. I always have the thoughts of what would have happened if I had cool, weird encounters out of nowhere with people or characters that I was a fan of. So if I have a unique position to be that guy and I can give a little excitement or joy or fun doing that to someone, I like to do it because I would have loved it as a fan. Mm-hmm. So the other day I was just driving along and there was a guy standing on the street corner waiting to cross the street wearing a Vault 111 sweatshirt. And I was having kind of a rough afternoon and he looked pretty bored standing there. So I pulled up and put my window down and I said, "Hey, so you in the vault?" And he's just looking at me like, "Who is this crazy person?" And I go, 111. And he's like, "Oh, yeah. And I said, "So how's it going out there, man?" And he goes, "What?" I go, "The mutants." And he's just looking at me like, "Who is this guy?" So I started throwing a couple Deacon lines at him. And I mean, he's really curious. The guy's honking behind me. And I forget what at the end, I just sort of screamed out, "Ow, I got a splinter." And he just looked and put the window up and drove away. I like to think that he's, I freaked him out a little bit. I hope. So I don't think he had no idea who I was, but I hope he figures it out because it's pretty funny. It was fun for me.
That's great. It's fucking great.
That's fucking brilliant. I love
I would love to, in my fantasy, you guys, the truth is I would love to just sort of travel around the United States and different countries and just secretly pop up on people if they have a Vault 111 sweatshirt on and just start throwing Deacon stuff out at them. Like Deacon's just everywhere messing with people. But, that's in my fantasy world. Not going to happen.
It's funny you say that because there's like a video out there and it's like places Deacon is hiding on you. And it's got like a ton of hits. No, it's crazy that Bethesda did this. There are spots in Fallout 4's world that like you find Deacon and he's like sitting there in disguise spying on you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them and they're actually very cool. And to that end, I wonder if I should tell you guys this. Let me think. Okay, well you can cut it out if I you cut out if I shouldn't. But here's what there was a big con here in town a few weeks ago in Los Angeles, one of the biggest. And I went to the con, but not as Deacon and not doing anything, just as a fan, just as a guest of the con. And I walked around and I talked to probably 200 different Fallout people in cosplay dressed as Deacon and stuff and told them, "Hey, that's a good Deacon." I've never told them that I was Deacon.
Oh my God.
Asked them all kinds of questions. So I interacted with about 200 people, hung out with them, took a photo with them, and they just thought I was just a guy at the convention. So I felt like Deacon in disguise undercover.
That's amazing.
So
You were literally doing that. You were hiding out in public.
No, I literally was doing that. And so there's a couple hundred people out there, if you're listening, who were at the con, who were cosplaying as Deacon. You have met Deacon. You have actually talked with him and hung out with him, and you have no idea. So there you go.
That's so funny. It's funny. When we had Brian Delaney, obviously the voice of the protagonist, he told a similar story where he was waiting in line to get his pre-order of Fallout 4, and that was the stage where the trailers were all out.
Oh.
It was his voice, and he was just talking to people. and no one could recognize who he was.
Dude,
it just
don't
boggles
get
my
that.
mind.
Like, if that happened to me, I just would have been like, switch would have flipped. I would have been like, what the fuck? Like, no.
You know what it is, though, Matty? You know what it is, though? At the cons and stuff, there's so many people doing the character that they don't, and especially if I'm not, dressed as, I actually physically look a lot like the guy, and they ended up kind of tweaking him so we do sort of mirror each other, but out of context, they would never suspect it, so they had no idea, but it was a lot of fun for me.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And by the way, the fans were amazing. I got to say, the people, you won't know if it's you that I'm thanking, but everybody was so cool. And it was great to actually experience it with them not knowing I was him, because they were all still really friendly and open and were telling me all about Fallout and Deacon. So it was really cool, man. Really cool.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
All
right, Matty.
Wait, I got a question. I picked a question on here.
Oh, yeah, go on.
For it.
Let's see. I got a couple. Here's one. It's somebody called Derpy_bibliophile.
Right.
Somebody who's really into books. Derpy Bibliophile. Derpy Bibliophile asks, what's your favorite part about being Deacon? And, well, you know what? Actually, I just answered that. My favorite part actually is the stuff we're doing now and interacting with the community and the people, because when you're in the booth and you're coming up with the lines or characters or the way you're going to do them and that, it's very isolated. And playing the game is great as well, but actually then interacting and getting the feedback from people is the best. That's definitely my favorite part.
This is very similar to a later question, so I'll raise it now to see if you have any other answers. So, Taggerberry? Sorry.
I'm so sorry, man. I just cut 1 second. I just wanted to say this Derpy Bibliophile, she also, I believe it's a girl, she had written me that she also makes like little Fallout props and like Fallout fan stuff. And I checked out she has like a little store, Derpy Bibliophile on Etsy, and she makes great little stuff. And she's making me a special Deacon necklace, like a locket, an old school locket with like a photo of him and his old wife Barbara, who was killed by the death claws and that. And I just thought that was really sweet, so I just wanted to give her a shout out.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm actually on her Etsy right now because I wanted to see. Yeah. So in terms of the similar style question, so Tagberry, I think, asked, what is your favorite part about working in the games industry? And I know you just mentioned the fact about interacting with fans and all of that. So on top of that, are there any other things that you really like about working in the games industry?
Yeah, there's always free donuts when you're working, recording, and I got to tell you. Okay, I'll give you the flip side answer. Aside from the fan interaction, and when I say fan, I just mean people in the community. I don't consider myself different. I'm a fan too, so we're all just in the same family here. Working with people like Kal-El and the creative people on that end when we're actually developing the game part, because I recorded on this thing for the better part of a year, over I think 1,500 lines or something. So it's a long process when you're involved, and they spent about 5 years developing the game. Working with the creative people on that end is incredible and very rewarding. Getting together, talking about the development with them, understanding the storylines of where they're going and the reasons that they come up with certain things. They are so specific and so particular. There is nothing in that game that you guys are seeing. I mean, from the graphics to the placement of where a stim pack is to, they sent a whole group of people to Boston for a week just to take photographs and walk around Boston so that they could document it properly to get it right when they developed the game. And so being part of that process is educational and amazing.
It's funny that you mentioned that they went to Boston and take photos, because I believe that was the first ever leak of Fallout 4 actually being developed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane to me, because it was just some random guy on Reddit that was like,
I saw them taking pictures of the like MIT or whatever, and
we didn't believe it. I was like, nah, that's bullshit. There's no way, but turned out to be true. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing how those things happen. I mean, and to speak to that for a second, I had no idea that I was working on Fallout, because see, when you get a request to audition or send they send you some lines to start with, and they want to see if you are interested and if you have a quality for the lines. they use false names, false character titles, false games. I think they called it Dawn of the Red Chair. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, every single time they use a different name. So even when I was recording for the better part of a year, I had no idea that my character's name was Deacon. I think it was like some random number assigned to him. I never saw a graphic from the game. When I'm recording,
Wow.
I never saw the character. I never saw any graphics. I just told the story and kind of make it up in my head. So I actually didn't find out until 9 months in, where I just started writing down different words that I saw, because they weren't using any of the key words, even like Mirelurk or shelter or any of those things. They would use different words. But I was able to figure it out eventually, because I had a lot of friends and I had seen Fallout 3, of course.
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of people asked, how was it when you knew you were doing it? But we didn't know. You don't know when you're doing it because of the secrecy. And it's very important in that industry, because if things do get leaked too early, the other companies will then jump on it and it'll actually water it down, and they'll jump in front of you, and it can end up ruining the whole game. So it's a really important thing to keep it under wraps.
How exactly do you get called into auditions? Do you like just do your thing and then all of a sudden your phone rings? Like I'm just curious how this whole process works. You
know what it is, Matt? It's one thing begets another. In other words, I do a guest star. Like, let's say I guest starred on, CSI New York as an on-camera actor, and then from that somebody sees it and they like a certain quality about it. So then I get a call from my agent gets a call. You have a person that represents you called the agent, and they sort of like they manage everything as far as your phone calls, jobs, sending you auditions, this type of thing.
Okay.
And then they get a call from, like, let's say the Taco Bell people or someone that I've done a radio ad for who like your voice. And then somebody hears that who's developing a game. So then they send an audition of a bunch of lines. I'll get a script of maybe, let's say, 15 lines. And it'll just be various things. And they'll give you a context. It'll say, under heavy fire in a combat situation, yelling or communicating with a friend. And that's as specific as it will be. And then it's up to you as the actor to think of that situation and put your spin on it. And so then I did that, and they liked that. Then I went into a studio and we played with some more stuff. And then once we feel like there's a symbiotic relationship and that we're going to be able to work together, then they hired me and we developed it from there.
So when you get these like 15 lines, we'll say, for example, is this before, you go in there, or do they just drop these in front of you? You just got to, like, on your toes, you got to.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's on your, there's no prep or anything like that. I mean, and I love that. I've been, since I was a little kid in my room after school, making up voices and making up characters and doing it. I love that stuff. So to get these lines and to be thrust into it and have 15 minutes to come up with your take on a character in a situation, it's a lot of fun. It's a great challenge, man.
Wow, that's impressive that you take that on with, like, such excitement. That sounds intimidating.
Come on, it's what a great job. I mean, seriously, guys, the things I used to do in my room alone as a kid and probably get made fun of, to get paid for them now is unbelievable. It's really fortunate thing.
It's a good perspective. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I told you this, Ryan, but, like, when I was in, like, second grade, every time someone asked me what I wanted to do when I grow up, I'd say, I want to play video games. They're like, well, you can't get paid to do that. And
yes, you can.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, well, you know what? I ain't being a fucking lawyer, so blow me.
Could you imagine if they asked me, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'd be like, I want to make weird noises and say nonsensical things.
Yeah, I used to, like, argue, not like argue in a bad way, but I used to, like, proving people wrong, but, like, my parents always joked that I like to argue all the time. And they were like, you should be a lawyer. Sure. You should be a lawyer. Like, they'd say as a joke.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, but they were always supportive of the gaming thing, so it kind of panned out.
Yeah, look, I got to say to anybody out there who's getting picked on in school or gets made fun of because they think that, who do they think they are that they can make a living playing video games or making YouTube videos or their weird little drawings that their friends make fun of? Mm-hmm. You guys, don't take it to heart. because cut to 10, 15 years later,
Yeah.
and you're getting paid to make comic books or games, all those people, not going to matter. So do what you're doing and do what you love and what really brings you joy. And I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong. It will pan out.
It's true. I'll tell a quick story. I was in 8th grade at the time. I made on like a really old YouTube channel. I don't even remember the name. Oh, I do remember the name of it. No videos on it, but it was like, I think it was called like Game X Review X. That's all it was.
I'm so searching for that right now.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, you
honestly,
are. I'm about to look it up too.
Go ahead and look it up. I don't think
embarrassing Mr. Matt stuff.
I don't think you'll find anything because I think the channel got like deleted or something like that. I don't remember. But regardless, what happened was that I posted a video on there at the time, and it was like I was always like, for lack of better words, inspired at the time by the angry video game nerd. He's this guy who just yelled at video games. He was entertaining, but made gaming really funny and stuff. And I was like, I want to try that. So like, I popped in a game that I actually really liked, but I just wanted to kind of try to do an imitation of him and see how it went. So I played like a game on my Nintendo 64, Cruising USA. And like, I was all like, oh, this car sucks. Oh, this is stupid. Like it was really cheesy and bad at the time. Don't get me wrong. And it was like one of those bad like cameras sitting on like the on the table in front of my TV kind of videos. And I record the video, I put it on YouTube, I show Noah. Noah's like, yeah, it was pretty funny and stuff, just being a good friend and encouraging me. And I come in the next day and I'm sitting there in art class, and these two, I say this in quotes, popular kids come up and start like quoting my video and stuff and teasing me about it and shit. And it was, at the time, it was awful because I'm sitting there like one of those like, I didn't like stand up and stick up for myself, but I just kind of like smiled and just kind of put my head down on my G's. Like, these kids somehow found this video and are giving me shit for it. Fortunately, I'm not like that crazy sensitive where I like let it ruin my day, but it did get to me a little bit. I did end up deleting the video because I was like, I don't want other people to see it because at the time they were popular. Now they're fucking losers, and they've actually when my channel grew, they hit me up. I was like, I just ignored them.
I was just going to say, Matty, those same guys, those same people are still listening probably to all of your stuff now with your other 250,000 listeners going, man, this guy sucks. He's lame. But they're still listening, aren't they?
It happens all the time. Like I had a bunch of in high school that they were just assholes for the sake of being assholes. And then those same people after high school will like add you on Facebook or whatever and try and be friends with you. Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's the same in Australia, huh? It's the same bullshit
down
there.
Everywhere. People, and you soon grow up and learn to not really give a fuck about what people think and do what you love. So.
Yeah, I'm not a grudge holder, so like, when they reached out, like, I ignored them, but then like I'd get back to them and stuff, it's like I'm just not that kind of person who just like harbors these deep hatred for people.
No, not at all.
Like, it was one of those things where I was like, it's funny how the universe works, where I stuck to what I enjoyed doing regardless. I didn't have this mindset, mind you. I was an idiotic high schooler, so I was just kind of doing YouTube because I loved video games and stuff, but it wasn't like this foresight plan. But it's just funny how things worked out, where like all of a sudden here they are, like, hey man, congrats, can you give me some tips? I'm like, cover a game that hasn't been announced for like 3 years, and hopefully luck works in your direction. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people ask me for tips, but on that same point, because I think you were hitting on a really good point there. It's funny as we get a little bit older and then we get out of high school and how those roles sort of change. And you said, to not be petty and still hate on those people. That's really smart, I think, because the truth is I celebrate those people now because everybody needs to play their part. It's since like, in every movie since the 50s, there's always the Biff who's like the jerky jock. And then there's the other guy who's kind of nerdy that gets picked on. And the truth is, without those people playing their part of being the kind of jerky people that pick on others, then the other people, we wouldn't have gotten picked on, which maybe wouldn't have made us to be as creative as we are or make us who we are. So the truth is, embrace those people, I think, later on. Actually, in your head, think, I'm thankful, hopefully if they're not hurting you too much. And it's not cool when it becomes bullying that actually is hurtful. It's just to not take it personally, but know that it's going to happen. And then it doesn't really affect you in any way, just don't let it cripple you is the thing. is the message, I guess.
Fortunately, in my case, it was like one of two times someone's like openly came at me like that. Both times, ironically, were in 8th grade. But, it was just like one of those things where they weren't like hardcore, like, you're a fucking loser for doing this. They were just quoting me endlessly for the class. Yeah. And I was sitting there just like, wow, you guys did your fucking homework, good job.
Hey, they found it and watched it, didn't they?
Yeah, like I like if that was me now. I was gonna say if that was me now, I'd be like congrats. A, you memorized what I said, and B, you actually found like something I did not promote at all. So like I don't know what you were doing creeping on me or some shit, but
yeah, anything with bullying or people picking on you in school, and anybody that's going through that right now, just know that I know it feels like it's the end of the world when it's happening. Believe me, when I was that guy getting picked on, I didn't think life would ever be any different. I wanted to just disappear. But if you're going through it, just know that honestly, you're going to look back on it and probably laugh about it. So don't take it to heart. Just do whatever it is you're into.
It's entirely true.
Yeah.
Really
all right, we got another question. What's going on? What do we got?
All right. So next one comes from sugar.bombed. No relation to sugarbomb.com, by the way. And and she asks, what would
By the way, I love the occasional maniacal laugh that comes from Australia all of a sudden. Just every once in a while. I love your laugh. There you go. I love that guy. Awesome. You need to record like voice actor laugh.
So what we're gonna do?
Listen, Ryan, if you ever need a voice actor that has an Australian accent, just
I love it, man.
Thank you.
If I ever come down there, I had such a wonderful time in Australia. The different places I visited. If I ever get down there again, I'll definitely look you up because I think we'll have a hoot.
Let me know.
We'll have a hoot. You guys are great, man. Or Matt, what do you got?
Sweet.
So, oh shit, I accidentally just tabbed out on my phone. Hold on, where the fuck is it? Did I just delete it by accident? Okay, there we go. I did accidentally delete it, but it's all right. It's recently deleted. So Sugar Bombed asks, what would your answers be to the goat? So what we're gonna do, Brian, or why I say Brian? I'm thinking
the goat,
of Brian.
The generalized occupational aptitude test.
So all right, we're gonna give you a little on the spot test.
It's a questionable test, in my opinion, as far as the vault test for the aptitude of what. Yeah, it's questionable, but okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, now mind you, ladies and
the
gentlemen,
science is solid behind it.
Yes, this is the Fallout 3 goat. And your answers, I believe at the end of this thing, we will have a final result. Yes, we do. We can submit it, which is fantastic. We can find out what your role is going to be in the vault. But we're going to have Ryan.
I'm totally unfamiliar with this particular goat. This should be interesting.
All right. Good.
Right.
All right. You are approached by a frenzied vault scientist who yells, "I'm going to put my quantum harmonizer in your photonic resonation chamber." What's your response? Okay, so your options are...
my first response, honestly, organically, would be you have to buy me dinner first.
Okay, I believe.
What's he gonna put in? What's he putting into my what?
He's putting his quantum harmonizer in your photonic resonation chamber.
Hey, now, anytime somebody's gonna put in my quantum,
so
sounds rough. Okay, let's do it.
Your options are, but doctor, that would cause a parabolic destabilization of the fission singularity.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, that's such an obvious answer. Just throw that one out.
It sounds like a bad porno, honestly.
We have, up yours too, buddy.
That's a typical answer, Go ahead.
Say nothing, grab a nearby pipe, and hit the scientist in the head and knock him out. For all you knew, he was planning to blow up the vault.
That's a reasonable first response, but let's keep going because Deacon's pretty open to people.
And then your last option is say nothing but slip away before the scientist can continue his rant.
Just basically ignore him. Yeah. I liked you got to buy me dinner first, but that's not an option, huh? No. Boy, that's rough because a lot of them they don't really fit how I would respond.
I guess it's like, would you hit him with a little science? Would you just tell him like up yours?
You know what? I think honestly, if I'm really coming up from a Deacon perspective, I'd hit him with the first one.
Okay.
Just to mess with him.
Yeah. All right.
And I hope that it really doesn't actually mean anything, which would even mess with him more. So yeah, definitely number one.
Okay. Question number 2. While working as an intern in the clinic, a patient with a strange infection on his foot stumbles through the door. The infection is spreading at an alarming rate, but the doctor has stepped out for a while. What do you do?
I tell him to spray some Windex on it.
We kind of have an option like that. We have amputate the foot before the infection spreads.
That seems reasonable.
Scream for help.
Okay.
This is the one I said that could be kind of similar. Medicate the infected area to the best of your abilities.
That's so boring.
Well, okay, here's one that's interesting. Restrain the patient and merely observe as the infection spreads.
Okay, but I want to add to that. I'm definitely going with the last one.
Okay.
But
So
can
evil.
but could I also be sort of volleying like different trivia questions at him while the infection's spreading? As he
Well, I guess that's what observation is in a sense. You know, you're sitting back watching this thing unfold, and you ask questions as things go along. So yeah, I'd say.
Okay, but they have to be random questions that have absolutely nothing to do with anything he's experiencing. So that would be a lot of fun. That'd be fun for everybody. You know, that's just
except
good time.
for the guy.
Well, I mean, look, it depends on the guy. It really depends on his point of view. You know, you got to embrace it, man. Just go with it. You know, okay, you're dying, but we're here.
Question
Yeah,
number three.
definitely the last one.
All right, yeah, I got that one checked off. So question number 3. This one's going to be interesting. You discover a young boy lost in the lower levels of the vault. He is hungry and frightened, but also appears to be in possession of stolen property. What do you do?
I know exactly what I'm supposed to answer, but I know exactly what Deacon would do. Of course. I mean, this one's simple. I would applaud him for being sneaky enough to have stolen some stuff. And admiring his skills at such a young age, I would take him on as a protege and travel with him then. And as he grows into a fine young man and becomes an incredible companion to be with, I would nurture and support him completely.
All right.
Is that an option, Matty?
There's not an option to raise him as your successor, but
Well, this is a terrible test. They have terrible answers. This makes no sense. Who wrote this? Go ahead. Fine.
so we have give the boy a hug and tell him everything will be okay. I guess that could be the start of your story there. You hug him and then you...
I'm a little reticent of immediately hugging small boys when I find them in darkened, isolated areas, but okay.
Confiscate the property by force and then leave him there as punishment.
Punishment for what? I think I'm impressed. I think he did a great job.
Pick the boy's pocket to take the stolen property for yourself and then leave the boy to his fate.
That's just wrong. Is that it?
No, we got the last one. Lead the boy to safety and then turn him to the overseer.
Turn him to the. That's like tattling on him in school and like narking him out. No, absolutely not.
Fucking narc.
Are you sure that raising him as my own protege and help, that's not an option? That's not like a subsection B answer?
Actually, now you mentioned, I'm surprised it's not an option. Hide him, bring him back, but don't turn him in.
Yeah. I mean, he could be the future of saving the world, man. I don't like any of those answers. You know what? I'm taking the 5th, man. I'm not answering that.
I think you're gonna have
to answer your question. I'm not going to answer that because that's how we're going to do it. I don't know on that one. I don't like any of those answers. Oh, I have to answer one, don't I? Because it's going to give me a personality of some sort. Okay. Man. I would probably take it from him without him knowing, but the truth is I wouldn't leave him there then afterward, and I wouldn't want to. No, I don't like it. I don't want to answer it.
All right. Well, there's an option that when you lead the boy to safety and then turn him in, because this is what it's designed to do is build out your class.
Let's go with the hug. I'm going to go with hugging him. I'm going to go.
All right.
The closest thing to what I actually do. Give him a hug.
Okay, we're gonna go with hug because I was gonna say the last one does nothing for you. It's just like like the first one's for speech, but the last one it does nothing. But all right, well, here's one. Okay, this one I think you should be able to answer. Congratulations, you made one of the Vault 101 baseball teams. Which position do you prefer? We have
Water boy.
Okay.
Gatorade's better.
I get to sit on the bench, watch the game, hang out, have a drink. It's all good.
So we have pitcher, catcher, designated hitter, and none. You wish the Vault had a soccer team.
Why soccer of all the sports?
The last one.
And do they mean? Well, okay, Australia. You mean football? But, Goal! I'm gonna go none with the soccer one, just because I just like it because it's a divisive answer and it's probably gonna upset people.
That's a great perspective.
Why not? And then you could do fun stuff like, put like a Mirelurk egg instead of like the soccer ball just to freak people out. You could put like a grenade or something in the ball so it blows up. You could have fun that way.
All right, yeah, I'm down with that.
I like that. Yeah.
All right, this one's gonna be an even more interesting question. Question number 5: Your grandmother invites you to tea, but you're surprised when she gives you a pistol and orders you to kill another vault resident. What do you do? And the options.
Naturally.
The options.
Well, obviously, drink the tea because you don't want to be a jerk. I probably asked for some of those little cookies she always has, those grandma style cookies that you can't find anywhere else for some reason, but only really old people seem to have them in their house.
Yeah.
I would ask for some of those cookies, and then I would quietly sneak around back behind her and shoot her in the back of the head because my grandmother died years ago, and this is definitely an imposter, and it could be a synth, and it could be someone from the Brotherhood trying to poison me.
Okay.
Is that not one of the answers?
To a degree. We'll get to it. We have obey your elder and kill the resident with the pistol. Offer your most prized possession for the resident's life. Ask Granny for a...
Can I give her whatever I took from the little boy that I found down in the basement for the resident's life?
No.
Because then that would justify me stealing it from the little boy. I could then wrap my mind around that and then use that to save the other guy. So that's not an option.
We need Ryan to write out the role playing choices for next Fallout game because he considers all options.
Can you imagine? It would be like 87 pages long. Okay. Option 3.
Option 3 is ask Granny for a minigun instead. After all, you don't want to miss. And then the last one, which I said...
Great point.
That's a pretty good point, actually. Yeah, I like that.
The last option is, like I said, to a degree up your alley.
I like that Granny's packing heat. That's the best part, that she's got like an arsenal happening. This is amazing.
In a vault, nonetheless. But the last one, it's not shooting her in the head, all right? Checking if she's a synth, but, close enough. You throw tea...
Well, no, not a synth. I got no problems with synths. I just meant maybe if she was an imposter, like a mutant imposter. So if she was a synth, I could roll with that, but, go ahead.
You could throw tea in her face.
Yeah, a little bit. Just to glitch her up a bit, but...
No, that's the option. Throw tea in her face.
Oh, that's an actual... Well, that's a good one. But that's a big waste of tea,
Oh, my God.
Yeah, in the apocalypse, I don't think tea's gonna... It's not like they're growing more tea after the apocalypse, so I don't want to waste tea.
I fucking hate tea, so throw it away, man.
Wow, you just lost the entire European audience, Matt.
I don't like it. Even when I had the flu and everything, I was coughing my brains out like tea. I'm like, what is this?
Let's hear in from Australia. How's tea going down there in Australia, bro?
I love my tea.
There you go.
I love my tea. All right.
Well, fuck off.
It's like how Oprah loves bread and you love tea. Fantastic. That's a reference you probably didn't get. Oprah just did this huge thing how she loves bread, and there's all this bizarre things of her screaming that she loves bread. So you should do I love tea. Okay, to answer the question, wow, the granny question.
The options here are great, in my opinion. For their build.
I like the getting a minigun from her.
Okay.
Yeah, I go with that. How do you guys feel about that one?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Mow them down.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Anyone who tries to arrest you afterwards, kill them too.
I would like to. Well, I try to talk it out with them before killing anyone. I don't want anyone to get harmed, of course. But I would like to have Granny as a companion for a playthrough. If she's got all these guns and stuff, I think the grandma companion would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. But not enough.
That's what Lady Murphy is for.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so I'm sure my profile leads me as a sociopath of some sort. Is that the last question?
You still have 5 more.
Wow, I'm really dragging this out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm telling you that anyone who's listening is enjoying your sociopath build right now.
My caffeine rant. Okay. I'll be a good boy. Okay, ask a question. Here we go.
Old man Abernathy has locked himself in his quarters again, and you've been ordered to get him out. How do you proceed? So an old guy in a wheelchair is sitting behind the door, and you got to get him out. So you can use a bobby pin and pick the door. You can trade a vault hoodlum for his cherry bomb and blow the lock off the door. Go to the armory, retrieve a laser pistol, blow the lock off the door. Or you could just walk away and let him rot.
Can I liquefy him with a food processor and then push him through the keyhole through a straw?
Dear God.
You got to somehow get on the other side.
Oh, like you didn't think of that first. Don't put it on me.
It didn't come to my mind naturally.
Dude, don't put that on me like I'm the only one that thought of that. To liquefy the guy. Okay, fine. I'll give you a more terrestrial, mundane answer. Obviously, being Deacon, I would pick the lock. You can gain affinity with me through picking locks. I think it's a great stealthy ability to have. So definitely pick the. But I would pick it with my left hand because I'm right-handed. Because it would be more of a challenge that way.
Oh my! Why?
To make it enjoyable, more entertaining. I can pick any lock easily, but with my left hand, it's much harder.
Okay.
It's kind of a Princess Bride sword thing, if you know the reference to the movie Princess Bride. And if anyone out here has not seen the movie Princess Bride, watch the movie Princess Bride from the 80s. Phenomenal. You'll love it. Trust me.
So, question number 7. Oh no, you've been exposed.
I'm serious about that, by the way. Watch Princess Bride. It's phenomenal. Go on. Okay.
You've been exposed to radiation, and a mutated hand has grown out of your stomach. This sounds like something you'd say, by the way.
Ooh, this is good. Wait, say it again. What happened?
You've been exposed to radiation, and a mutated hand has grown out of your stomach.
Yes!
What is the best course of treatment?
Obviously, dude, I find an extra pipe gun. Bam! 3 hands, 3 weapons.
So
phenomenal. Give my hand an extra weapon. It's great. That's fantastic.
All right, so you got a bullet to the brain.
What?
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. A large dose of anti-mutagen agent. So basically, like, medicate yourself.
A lot of very, very strong hand sanitizer.
Yes. What's interesting is in the picture, there's a hairy arm. Like, the one arm coming out of your stomach is hairy. But his other two arms. Oh wait, never mind. It's because it's jumpsuit.
I gotta tell you, the images of what I could do with that extra third hand, of how useful it would be running through my head. I probably shouldn't say out loud, but I think that's a great thing to have. But keep going.
Well, in the picture, he's got his mouth open and the pointer finger is going towards his mouth. So you never know.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah. Option 3. Prayer. Maybe God will spare you in exchange for a life of pious devotion.
Okay, but if I do pray, I want to know, once again, sorry to be technical, but am I using like all 3 hands when I'm folding my hands to pray?
One rests on your head, the other 2 fold.
Yeah, how are we doing that? I mean, okay,
that's true. That's actually entirely true. And then the last one is removal of the mutated tissue with a precision laser.
Well, that's just a waste of an extra hand, so that makes no sense at all. I'm going to go with definitely get an extra weapon and use it to. Oh, that's not an answer. I would hug him. No, wait, that's not an answer. Shoot her in the back of the head. Wait, what's the first one again?
Bullet to the brain. To yourself.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't want to kill yourself.
Terrible idea. Second one. Sorry.
Large dose of anti-mutagen.
No. I'm liking the hand. What's the one where I keep the hand?
Basically prayer. You don't kill yourself there.
Okay, I'll go a prayer. You know what? I'll give a prayer of thanks for this fantastic new mutation and ability that I have.
There you go. All right.
Lemonade, baby. Lemonade from lemons. Let's do it.
I like it. Only a few more left. Question number 8. A fellow Vault 101 resident is in possession of a Grognak the Barbarian comic book. Issue number 1. You want it. What's the best way to obtain it? So we have, before we get into your optional 5th answer, we have trade the comic book for one of your own valuable possessions. I can already tell you don't want to do that.
No, because whatever I stole from that little kid, I want to keep it. I'm not giving it to this guy. I can use that to save it. Well.
This one I'm liking. Steal it at gunpoint.
You know, it's not a Deacon thing to do, man. I'm not into just bullying people and taking stuff. I like to be more creative and stealthy about it.
Oh, okay. There you go. Here we go. Sneak into his quarters and steal the comic book from his desk.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that, but I'm also just gonna add a little tweak to it, if I may. Surprisingly so. I'm gonna sneak in and steal it, but But I'm then going to draw my own version of it and then replace his original copy with my crappy drawn version of it. But the storyline is going to go completely different than the original Grognak one.
And they just keep leading him on thinking like he's got the same comic book and just keep drawing new issues for him.
Terrible renditions of it. Yeah. So at least he gets some entertainment out of it. And then, of course, I would sell the one that I stole for caps and then donate those to charity to help the children. Yeah, that's definitely what I would do.
Circle.
Yeah.
Take what you learned during high school and make good use of it now.
Or probably not. All right, what do you got?
Last one may be more up your alley. Slip some knockout drops into the resident's Nuka-Cola and take the comic book when he's on.
This is the Cosby option. Okay.
Oh my God.
What do you... I'm just saying. Come on. I mean, what, I'm not... You didn't think that first? Don't put it on me.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm thinking it.
Okay,
now.
so we're Cosby enough. Wait, who we doing it? What's going? Who's getting dropped?
It's become an adjective. In
another resident. It's not. That's the key word here. It's not even a friend. They're just saying a fellow resident. So this guy, you have no ties to him. So you really don't mind if you point a gun at him or if you steal from him or if you slip knockout drops into his drink and take advantage of him.
But anybody out here, even if it's a random resident, could end up being an ally and helping the railroad towards our cause of taking out. So I also value everyone out here. So just saying. But okay. To be fair enough. Okay, so what are the options? What do we got?
Trade it for,
For my Grognak?
Yeah, trade for your Grognak.
Issue 1?
You can steal it at gunpoint, you can sneak in and steal it, or you can knock him out and steal it.
Well, since he's using he has the knockout drops, but we don't know if he's using them though, right?
I mean, it says take the comic book when he's unconscious, so we're gonna imagine that when he drinks from his Nuka-Cola, that he is consuming these knockout drops, and he will be knocked the fuck out.
I feel bad knocking the guy out, though, man. I mean, again, none of these actually fit my Deacon profile of what I would actually do. Wow. But, life is like that. How about...
Deacon has to adapt, doesn't he, though?
He does. He's very adaptable. How about this? How about I disguise myself as my dead grandmother, as my dead fake grandmother that I found out was impersonating my grandmother. So I take her clothes, or its clothes, disguise myself as her, bring him some tea and grandma cookies, make friends with him, and then we share it. No, that's not going to work. I think definitely hit him with the knockout drops and take it when he's passed out.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
I'm really.
Although I don't feel good about it. But I'll do it anyway.
No, sometimes life throws you a curveball. You don't feel too good about it.
It's not like I feel that bad about it.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this screenshot for question number 9 is that the guy walking away kind of has a little bit of a Deacon look. He's got the glasses and he's got the nice little slick back hair, so I'm liking this.
It's another McCready trying to look like Deacon.
You decide it would be fun to play a prank on your father. You enter his private restroom when no one is looking, and so Deacon's getting his prank on right now. So you want to loosen some bolts on some pipes. When the sink is turned on, the room will flood. Put a firecracker in the toilet. That's sure to cause some chaos.
That makes no sense at all, because how do I light the firecracker when he's using the toilet? That's a messy situation. I don't want to
kick down the door while he's taking a dump, and you drop it in his lap. That's what you do.
Pretty stealthy.
I mean, the option for that, it says...
the only correct answer here, honestly, the only correct answer is the saran wrap over the toilet seat opening so that when he pees on it and doesn't see it, it all splashes back up on him.
See, I've only tried that prank once, and it did not work. The person walked in, they took it off right away.
Oh, they did? See, you have to do it at night. See, I went to some boarding schools when I was a kid where you actually have to live there and stuff, and so there's a lot of other kids in that at nighttime. So we used to do that stuff all the time, and it worked. Yeah. Also, if someone does hassle you a lot, and I do not condone doing this in any way, and I want to say that I'm ashamed that we did it, and no one out there should do this. However, if somebody's bullying you a lot, and you live in private school, and you have access to their shampoo because everybody leaves all their supplies in the bathroom at boarding school, and you put Nair cream hair removal cream in their conditioner.
Oh, that's so mean.
A couple weeks in, when all their clumps of hair are falling out, when they shampoo their hair, they really, really chill out on the bullying thing because they get much more preoccupied with the fact that they think they're dying.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Don't do that. Don't do it. It's not a good idea.
You've just given everyone the idea.
Don't ever do that to anybody. Okay, moving on. Did I answer your question in any way?
You have two more options. You got break into the locked medicine cabinet and replace his high blood pressure medication with sugar pills. So that kind of sounds maniacal enough. Basically what you just said, fuck with his medication.
Who has a lock on their medicine cabinet? Okay.
And then the last one is manipulate the power wattage on his razor so he'll get an electrical shock next time he shaves.
Wow, that's a lot of work just to give him an electrical shock. Oh man, that's a hard one. I like the razor one, actually.
You do?
Well, the other one, you know what it is? It's just that I don't like the other ones. It's kind of like a political situation. Like, I don't really want to vote for this person, but I actually don't want the other person to win, so I have to vote for them. Not getting into politics in America right now. Not that we want to get political in any way, because it's a total nightmare. I'm going to go with the razor just because he is my father. It's non-lethal. And at least it's creative. It's fun. It's funny. You know?
Right. Oh, I like it. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And then
I think the saran wrap would be better, but okay.
Yeah. The last question is, who is indisputably the most important person in Vault 101? He who shelters us from the harshness of the atomic wasteland and to whom we owe everything we have, including our lives. That
guy. I'm really leery of that whole situation, but okay, go ahead.
The overseer.
I just think anytime someone like the overseer supposedly has ultimate power and responsibility like that, they usually end up becoming a corrupted force. So I don't have a lot of faith in anything that has ultimate power like that as my character.
It's funny you mentioned that.
What's that?
What are the answers?
What do you got? Your options are 1, the overseer, 2, the overseer, 3, the overseer, and 4, the overseer.
I'm going to go with probably the overseer then, but anything but the overseer. Any answer but the overseer.
Well, you don't have much of a choice.
Shoot him in the back of the head because he's impostering him and my grandmother. Honestly, I would hug him. I just hug him. Jeez. I don't know. Come on. We got to have a personality.
Yeah, the other answers roll over. Just pick one of them at random.
Okay, that one.
That one. All right, I picked number 2.
Well, they're all the same answer, right?
Yeah. All right, so I don't know how. How did you get such a good position in the vault? So
see, Deacon's a sneaky mofo, isn't he?
After all those psychotic choices we made, your final result is that you are a Pip-Boy programmer.
Nice.
You program the thing that every Fallout player uses.
Can you imagine if Deacon was responsible for programming all the Pip-Boy? How screwed up everybody's playthrough would be? That would be. They need to release a DLC that Deacon has actually programmed the Pip-Boys. That would be phenomenal.
That's excellent.
Oh, that'd be good times.
But that's
oh man,
that's Ryan, voice actor of Deacon, answering all the questions from the Fallout 3 GOAT.
Excellent.
Oh god, that's not going to go down on my permanent record, is it?
No.
Because that can't be legal. That can't be legal. What just happened?
Well, if you'd like to ask a question.
That was a lot of fun, you guys, man. That really was.
It was.
We'll
move on to the next question then.
By all means, Lon. I've been running. I don't want to run the show that much because
I've
been talking so much.
We need one from down under. We need a question from down under.
All right. So, Gilly Bean 1997 asks, "What do you think would be the best disguise that Deacon could do?"
I think Myrler Queen because it's such a rare character, and she's incredibly powerful, that if Deacon could disguise himself as the Mirelurk Queen, I think he could actually use that effectively toward the railroad cause.
Mm-hmm.
I won't give any spoilers or anything, but there is a Mirelurk Queen, obviously, and if people haven't made it to that through their playthroughs, I won't say where and when or how, but honestly, I think that'd be a really effective, cool thing if he could do that. You know, actually, to disguise himself as different things like mutants and Mirelurks and things like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Matty.
You're stunned because I gave a straightforward.
Yeah,
answer.
and
we've just went.
Like,
we've just went from that
sucked,
entire
man.
segment.
Here, I got one. Let's see. Just to be fair here, and I'll try to do them quicker too, because people were so nice to submit so many questions. Let me blow through a couple here quickly. We got Z Big Daddy 69. Okay, no comment. Asks, what do you like best about the Fallout community? Doing this has been the most fun I've had so far, and just how supportive and cool everybody seems to be and knowledgeable about the game. It really feels like a family kind of thing. A totally dysfunctional family with guns, but a family. We got another one here from Crash. K_R_Ash asks, Deacon's with the railroad, but see if I do this like in a Deacon voice. How's Deacon doing? Deacon's with the railroad. No, I can't do it right now. Okay, Deacon's with the railroad, but in the event of an actual post-apocalyptic atomic event, who would Ryan side with? Funny enough, I really do have a lot of the same sensibilities that Deacon has, and I think I would 100%, in a real-world situation, hopefully that would never happen, go with the railroad. Because, they're at least going to try to rebuild society into something that's going to be a usable working society. Not to get too real there. Yeah, right. Ethereal Deathclaw asks, what's your favorite thing in general about the Fallout universe? Would you want to live in it? Okay, absolutely not. Would not want to live in it.
Yeah, there was a poll.
Are you sure?
There was a poll I was reading somewhere, and someone was like, what Bethesda universe or what game universe would you want to live in? And the answers were like, I forgot who did it, but it was like Mass Effect, Elder Scrolls, Fallout. And Fallout was winning, and I'm sitting there like, you want the world to blow up. You want the world to decide, fuck this, and kill each other. Like,
no,
what?
I would probably jump in. It's not a Bethesda thing, but I'd probably want to, if I had to live in one, maybe Grand Theft Auto, if I had to live in it.
People just running over others for fun, not following the traffic rules or anything. Yeah, I
good time with cars and stuff.
Oh, you mean LA?
Yeah, that is pretty much LA, my friend. No, would definitely not want to live in that world. Although my favorite part of what do I like in general about the Fallout universe, I really, really love the juxtaposition and the mix of the nostalgic elements with the post-apocalyptic futuristic elements. Love the old radio soundtrack stuff. Love the vintage throwback vehicles that are like spacey and futuristic, like from the 50s, combined with all of the future forward technology. I think that stuff's a great mix. What do you guys like about it?
You basically said what I like about Fallout. I think everyone can agree on that. That's like the best thing about it. It's such a weird thing. Like, I feel like if they wrote it down on paper and they were like, let's try mixing these two things, like, it'd be like, what? Why? Yeah. That doesn't work, And it does. In a very strange way, it does. It's a lot like BioShock, right, Lone? Like, it's like this old school kind of mixed with new, and it just works.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Australia. What do you got?
No.
I love calling you Australia. It just feels so international. It's like we're the United Nations, and we have Australia on the floor. Go Australia.
And then everyone just sighs, oh, fucking Australia. Is he drunk again?
And of course, Russia's like, yes. And you're like, please, Russia, please, let Australia speak. Yes, Australia.
Yes, but no, anytime someone mentions BioShock, like one of the first things I'll mention, like aside from the setting, etc., is like the 1940s and 50s just theme to it, especially the music. It's obviously being 20-something or whatever, people don't necessarily listen to that older style music, but once you experience it, you're like, wow, this shits on the music from today's era.
Yeah,
that's why I really like Fallout and BioShock.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It actually really got me into a lot of that old music. I started downloading like weird, like Glenn Miller and like weird stuff, and it's actually a cool change to listen to during the day. I'll put on that music now regularly instead of the newer stuff.
Definitely.
It's cool.
That's entirely true, because when I was funny enough, I've been mentioning it a lot, but when I was in 8th grade, that's when I first played Fallout ever.
8th grade was a big year for Matty, in case anyone
if you guys didn't know, that's when my life turned around. And, that was the first time I played Fallout 3, and that's when I really started to appreciate that genre of music, and I'd listen to it for fun and stuff from that point onwards, and it was just kind of like a natural thing. My friend Connor, though, had never played Fallout 3 until 2 years ago, in 2014. Before that, though, he'd get in my car, and on my radio, you'd hear Bing Crosby. He'd be like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" He'd be like, "Dude,"
totally.
He's like, "Dude, you're not 70. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Look, you don't get it." I always tell him, just play Fallout, and he finally did. He's like, "I get it. I get it."
Isn't it cool? I'll be you'll be driving along, it'll be kind of a rainy day, in your normal world at home, and you're in traffic, and there's trees going by, and you put on that kind of old style music. There's a certain poeticness and kind of almost an optimism to it, and a naivety, if that makes sense. That it's kind of refreshing in our modern world to then play that in real life, like in the game. Yeah. Anyway, to that same effect, I got to give one more movie plug. The finest film that I think that ever, actually, this film invented taking a post-apocalyptic society and mixing all the retro stuff into it. And it is my favorite film. If I had to pick a movie to put into a time capsule that aliens were going to find in 2287 to represent films, it would be the film Blade Runner from the 80s.
People were saying that inspired Fallout
100%, you guys. If anyone out there has not seen the film Blade Runner, do yourself a favor. It is some of the absolute finest filmmaking by Ridley Scott, with Harrison Ford back after he had originally played Han Solo in that. And it's set in a post-apocalyptic future Los Angeles, and it mixes all the nostalgia with all the future stuff with a great storyline and some of the best graphics and vehicles and weapons and stuff you've ever seen. And it's from the 80s, called Blade Runner.
Can we just appreciate how fucking attractive? All right, I'm straight male, but how attractive Han Solo is. Or Harrison Ford. I'm sorry. Back then, when he was Indiana Jones and stuff, dude, this guy must have been just destroying women left and right.
It's funny, you bring up Han Solo. It's funny because to me, in the entire Fallout world, Deacon is the Han Solo. That's what I love about him. He's always got a smart ass remark. Yeah. He's always got a quip, laugh it up, furball, or princess. That would be a Deacon thing. So I always identified with him for this character, with his attitude. And funny enough, when Harrison Ford got that role, he actually had already done a film called oh my gosh, it's skipped my mind. American Graffiti with George Lucas in the 70s. And he was working as a carpenter. He actually, in between acting gigs, because he wasn't working very much at the time, it's before Star Wars came out, before he had made it, he was doing carpentry work in George Lucas's office, and he was building shelves and things. Yeah, he lived here in Los Angeles, and he would redo people's offices and counters and things. And George Lucas asked him, he needed someone to read opposite all of the guys he was reading to cast Luke Skywalker. So Harrison Ford, for a month, sat in this room and just would read opposite these other actors to help George Lucas cast Luke Skywalker. And so when it came time to cast someone in the role of Han Solo, this is according to George Lucas, he read a few hundred guys for Han Solo, but he said he couldn't get out of his mind because he had heard Harrison Ford read it for a month opposite all the Luke Skywalkers. And apparently Harrison Ford had a real attitude about it. He was really cocky and kind of sarcastic because he was pissed off that he wasn't getting an opportunity to audition. And that's where the whole Han Solo thing of him being a smartass came from. George Lucas wrote the role then around that and gave him that personality, and the rest is history, and became the most popular character in the world.
Wow. Awesome. I actually didn't know that at all.
Yeah, so he had no idea. He was just building carpentry work, and he was pissed off, and that all became then him becoming Han Solo. So you never know what's going to happen in life.
Right.
Seriously, what the fuck? That's amazing.
Sorry, long divergent story, but I figured we're all kind of the same fan base, and the Star Wars stories are pretty cool. So I wanted to,
You'd
throw
be
that.
surprised how because for me it's like literally if I had like a preference on like or a priority list on how I upload my videos, it'd be like obviously Bethesda #1, then right under that Star Wars, and you'd be surprised like how those two mix pretty well. That when I like because as a YouTuber you kind of have to pay attention to the numbers to some degree. I try not to focus on them that much, but like when I look at the views after like the month and I see like my Star Wars videos versus my Fallout videos, I'm like wow, they're not a big difference, and I'm like this is actually really amazing because they're two totally different universes, completely different, but yet like the fans are one and the same. It's insane.
Yeah, because ultimately I think you're totally right, Matt, in that they're different universes, but they share a lot of similarities. There's a dark power that's at hand, and then there's a rebel sort of rebellion like the Railroad. There is it's after the world has sort of pretty much moved on and it isn't thriving anymore. It could become dark or it could become light. In other words, the world could go either way, and there's a small group of people trying to help it to go a good way and a huge force going the other way. So they do relate a lot, I think.
True.
But yeah, man, I'm with you. When I met Mark Hamill years ago, he's a huge voice actor, obviously, the guy that plays Luke Skywalker. And I hadn't done any voiceover work yet. I had just done some on-camera acting at that point. He was so gracious and cool to talk with, and I had asked him about some of the video game stuff that he had done. I wish that I had already done Fallout at that point because I hope to run into him again someday or to talk to him because now that I've been involved doing it as well, I just think that that's so cool. The fact that I was to talk to Luke Skywalker about doing the voice acting and being involved in the same world when I used to have his poster on my wall as a little tiny baby, and idolized him is mind-blowing to me that it's come full circle that we're sort of involved in the same industry and world now. It's bizarre.
That's exactly really cool. What I said about the Oddworld thing. I grew up literally one of my first games I played was this game called Oddworld's Munch's Odyssey. One of my favorite games to this day. And like I've been a giant fan of this series since. And like for them to all of a sudden, and here I am 20 years old and they reach out to me, and ask me to like help with the game. Albeit, like I said, a smaller support role, but still it's like it's insane that like a game that me and my dad would sit down and play with as I grew up as a kid, and that we just like we still make jokes about this game to this day. Like just the other week we did, and to just be a part of that now, it's insane. That's so cool. How it comes like you said, like how all of a sudden here I am full circle.
That's so cool, and I hope that's inspirational to anybody out there listening again that thinks that maybe they would want to do that or have been told that whatever it is that they want to do is not possible because. It's not true. That could totally happen, man. Anything could become something that's mind-blowing and you never expect it.
Yeah, you're always gonna have your doubters and your haters. It's inevitable. Yeah. If you're pleasing everybody, I don't want to say
you're doing something wrong.
You got to be doing something wrong because then like you're just you're kind of people pleasing. You're trying to appease to all crowds. It's like just be you.
That's right, man. Totally. Yeah. One of my favorite characters growing up was Spider-Man. When I was a little kid, I used to pretend to shoot webs to pull myself to. Yeah.
I had a little fucking toy thing, and it was like a little like almost like a what are those?
Like a web
called?
shooter.
Yeah, but it actually shot like fizz out of it.
Yeah, like a bubble shooting gun kind of thing, but it would shoot fizz, right?
Yeah. It was like what was it? It was like silly string. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I was like, I love that thing. I used to.
Which I'm sure was very toxic, and we probprobably ate most of it, which was not a good idea.
No, it ended up all over my family's face at that point. I'd just be like, and
was Spider-Man
popular? Here,
oh, dude, was Spider-Man popular down in Australia? Growing up,
yeah. I don't like. You look back on it now, and I'm like, oh, those movies were a bit cringy. But
the movies.
No.
They were. I mean, fantastic. The old school Spider. Like I was into watching.
I thought you were talking about my boy Toby. He's good. No one gives him enough credit. Tobey Maguire is a good Spider-Man.
That's a whole nother discussion.
That's a whole nother.
But no, I actually used to look up and harken back to. I would watch the old Spider-Man cartoons that were vintage, like from the '60s. I like to watch those when I was a little kid.
Like are in all the memes nowadays.
So when I used to imagine I was Spider-Man and stuff. So to cut to last year, or about a year and a half ago, I got asked to be involved in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game. So I play the Shocker, which is one of Spider-Man's enemies and nemesis in the Spider-Man game. And so for me to go in, because I was such a huge fan as a kid, and then go and voice act and play a main villain against Spider-Man, that was so cool for me. I had such a great time doing it.
Do you just like think back to like when you were that age and you were just watching it and like naturally like you see the Shocker on screen and it's like you think to yourself like if I was standing next to like that version of myself, like I traveled in time and I was just kind of like like watching in the corner as this all unfolded, and I'm like, I have no idea that I'm actually going to be like involved in Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly, right? You have no idea. So cool. Again, so anybody out there who's watching stuff or even playing Fallout and listening to Deacon thinking, man, I wonder, I wish I could do one of those characters. Totally might happen. So don't give that up. Yeah, I mean, I had the most fun, aside from Deacon, doing that Spider-Man game job because I literally was just in a joyful place playing the Shocker because for years as a kid growing up, I used to pretend to be all these things. So that was awesome, man.
I feel you. I love Spider-Man. Easily my favorite superhero.
Yeah, and again, if anyone out there hasn't watched, look on YouTube, look up the original vintage Spider-Man cartoons from the 60s. And they're campy and funky, but man, they are funny. He's kind of a smartass, and they're really well done.
All right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Lowen, you sounded convinced there. All right.
Yeah, that sounded. He's typing away as he's like taking a nap.
I actually am though.
Very skeptical. Very skeptical. That was like a hey, do you want to go out and then light these M80s off with me and hold firecrackers in our hands? You were like,
I'm just thinking about the Tobey Maguire films. I don't know.
Right. You're still stuck. Stuck.
All right. Spider-Man 3, I'll say, wasn't good. Spider-Man 1 was one of my is my favorite superhero movie to this day.
Let's not diverge into this, man.
Mine personally. I'm not going to say that if you say it's not, then you're wrong. But for me personally, I loved the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man origin story. Spider-Man 2, that's an emotional movie, man. That was a sad fucking movie. Watch it again if you have time. And I know you guys won't, but I'm saying for the listeners out there, you got time to kill. Watch Spider-Man 2 over again. It's really sad. The whole story. It's all really depressing.
I believe you.
And
that's great. Let's end this on a real down note. Good job, man. I'm
Matt, ask a happy question that we can end the podcast.
I don't think we answered this one. This is actually funny enough. It seems to be our last one. It comes from Bad Built Blake, and he says, "How was your voice acting experience with Bethesda compared to your previous work?"
It was great. It was great. I mean, I've been very fortunate doing some of the stuff for the Marvel world. The Marvel people have been great to work with, and the Bethesda people. It really just, it depends on who your direct contact is, who your actual director is. And I've been very fortunate that the directors I've worked with have been really great people who really actually love the games and really care about them as much as a game, the biggest game player fans do. So I've been really fortunate. They've been great to work with.
So my question then, we'll diverge a little bit more here, is then if you could pick like a character that, you wanted to be, just anyone out there, I'm sure you have one that comes to mind. Like some character that's already been established or play in a universe that's been established.
Yeah. I really, really like Wolverine. I like his sensibilities.
No, that's Hugh Jackman. He's Australian.
Mate. And I gotta say mate because it's Australia. Yeah, mate. I don't mean to take the role for Hugh Jackman. I mean, since it's a fantasy question, I get to give you a fantasy answer. And if I was gonna actually, I thought you meant if I actually really became this character, like in real life.
I mean, you could do that too. I just meant voice acting.
Not to take anything away from Mr. Hugh Jackman, he kills it as Wolverine.
Attractive man.
Yeah.
Isn't this his last Wolverine movie? But didn't he say that for like the last one as well? Like,
he keeps saying it, just like Harrison.
Can be Wolverine.
Yeah. Go. Yeah, he keeps saying it until they keep waving like a $15 million check in front of him. He's like, okay, one more time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got one more in me. I could use the extra money.
It's like Harrison Ford in the last Star Wars movie. He turned them down 3 times in a row to be in the film. He said he was done with Star Wars. He didn't want to do them anymore. And they started with like 10 million, then 15, then 20. And by 20, he's like, okay, one more movie. but you could feel it watching the film.
They had to have done the same with Indiana Jones 5. Because he's coming back for that.
Well, yeah, they're making that too. So I love how these guys are done until $20 million changes their mind and they're back.
I guess I like Star Wars, right? Okay.
Yeah. It only made my entire life happen. So, yeah. I always think it's strange when actors become famous for a certain role, like, you know, Mark Hamill for Luke or Harrison Ford for Han Solo, and then when you know 20 years later, people are so excited and they say, "I love you as Luke Skywalker." Mark Hamill doesn't do this, but some actors, they don't want to relate to the characters that people really love, and they get annoyed like that you bring them up. And I don't understand that, because I think they should really embrace it, because if people respond to it and fans really enjoy it, and you give somebody enjoyment and love through this character. It's such a rare thing in life to be able to do that, unless you're like a doctor that's curing, you know, diseases from people. To give people some enjoyment and some escapism from the harshness of the reality we live in is such a cool gift to be able to give through your work, that I just can't think of anything better, man, than to do that and get to play and have fun doing it. It's awesome.
Yeah. And all 3 of us can say we, to some degree, do that. I don't know if it's on the magnitude of Harrison Ford as Han Solo, but we.
It is. It absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, not Harrison Ford, Han Solo. Yeah. No, that's a whole different thing. But boy, that must be tiring to be that big and that known as a character, to not be able to leave the house and just go and get a coffee or something without a million people stopping you as you know, being the character. That must be hard after a while.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, I don't know. When I've seen like people like I like in the city and stuff, you know, you're bound to cross, you know, a famous person or two, and like my friends will pick up on someone, they'll be like, oh, that's so and so, and like for me, usually I just think like I put myself in their shoes, and I think that the same exact thing, and it's like I never really approach celebrities when I see them. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. I mean, if they're just like chilling out or whatever, then I totally would. But for me, like usually I just kind of back away from it and stuff.
Yeah, for the most part, though, I got to tell you, man, and I've been in my industry and having the journey I've had, I've been able to interact with and work with some and meet a lot of people that are celebrities in different areas of the work that we do, from movies and TV and stuff. I got to tell you, for the most part, most of them are really cool and nice. And if you're just genuine with them, the truth is they're just another person who grew up awkward, who tried to make it, who's failed, whose parents or brother picked on them. It's just another person. So at the end of the day, we're all really in the same boat. It's just the perception thing that they're famous. It's all the same everywhere you go, except for Australia. They are completely different.
How so?
Well, we won't get into that, man. I mean, it's totally different.
Ryan's got a whole list of reasons. Fucking Australians.
It's a whole nother 2-hour show. In a good way.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, man. I got one last question somebody threw up on the website real quick just to throw out there. Mur the Great says, "Hi, Ryan," with an exclamation point. It's very, very friendly. "Hi, Ryan. Was it different voicing 2 characters for Fallout 2? If so, how? Was it different, and did you enjoy it?" Oh, they're referring to, I didn't only do Deacon in the game, I also did H.222.
Yeah.
Yeah, or H.222, yeah. And, it was a lot of fun. It was very different, because H.222, you know, being obviously a straightforward synth and this and that, and having very low self-esteem, his character and the way he responds to things and thinks about himself is completely the opposite of Deacon. So it was a lot of fun to play with. Obviously, it's still me and my voice, but to tweak it and to try to get the emotional damage and the emotional place that H.222 is coming from being so different from Deacon, but in the same game. That was a challenge. It was a lot of fun. Actually, I really, really enjoyed that. I think that answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other final
I love
questions?
H222. By the way, H222, he doesn't get a lot of love out there, but I got to tell you, I really love that character. I think he's a really cool character if you guys have experienced or interacted with him at all.
I actually killed him as well.
Of course you did. Well,
Of course you did, Matty. Yeah.
Of course you did.
I'm sorry.
See, he's somebody that Deacon would want to save and help join the railroad, But anyway, yeah, I like that character a lot.
Because, spoiler alert, but like when I went with the Brotherhood of Steel, you kill almost everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's insane. And so like I'm just slaying companions left and right. I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm bad.
Bloody hell.
I remember I told Lone that, and he's like, no, you killed Dance? Are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah,
How did you
bitch.
kill Dance, though? That's the one thing
I
don't
shot him right in the fucking head, too. I was sitting
Fucking
there in my fucking bedroom, and you were like praising.
Poor Dancer.
In the DMs, Lone is praising Paladin Dance so much, and I'm just like, I'm shooting this guy in the damn head, and I did.
And he's smiling about it.
I was.
Asshole.
I was.
Terrible. That's terrible.
Because I thought, I thought of, and not to sound weird, but I thought of Lone like standing behind me when I did that. When I shot him, just like, no, what have you done? You killed Dance. Like,
oh man,
I love it.
Dance was my favorite companion for context.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoy him, man. He's a pretty cool character.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys get any questions about? I get a lot of these on my DM. A lot of people get frustrated because Deacon's the only non-romanceable companion. So a lot of people.
Yeah, what is up with that? What is up with that?
A lot of people have asked me, why is he not romanceable? What's the reason of that? Would you change it? And just really quick, yeah, Deacon's not romanceable because, the backstory on Deacon and where he's from and what he went through. Back in his youth, Deacon was a member of the university Death Claws. And they used to go around and they would pick on synths because, synths were considered less than human. And they actually ended up lynching and murdering a guy that they were told was a synth. And then they found out later on that information wasn't correct, that they had actually accidentally probably murdered a human. And he was gutted by that. He dropped out, left the Death Claws and went and became a farmer. And then eventually led on to doing the stuff with the railroad and that. And his wife, Barbara, he was married when he was a farmer. She, years later, the Death Claws came and found her, and they found out that she actually was a synth, and the Death Claws murdered his wife, and he was there. It happened in front of him. Yeah, it happened in front of Deacon, and then Deacon went ballistic, and he murdered all those the Death Claws in the gang that murdered her in just a frenzy onslaught of just absolute, manic annihilation. And he's really scarred from that. And that is why Deacon is not romanceable, because the one thing in his entire life that he really actually cared about and was vulnerable and gave his love to, Barbara, who was a synth, who he didn't know at the time, but he didn't care, was murdered and taken away from him. And that's why he stands up for anyone who's a synth, because that represents people who are picked on, people who are less than, and people who are scorned. And he made the mistake of being that kind of person in the past, and he wants to correct it because of the guilt. And that's why he's not romanceable, because his heart is completely broken forever. And that's why he's trying to help synths and put humanity back together and not be, prejudiced against them.
Wow.
Actually,
speaking about ending on a high note.
That's the truth. That's the real story of Deacon. So that's why he's not romantic.
People do ask, though. I do every now and then get that on my Twitter is, Matty, why is my game glitching? I can't romance Deacon. I'm like, it's not a glitch.
Yeah.
It's part of the backstory. I think it's a good choice by Bethesda. Most games go, fuck it, romance everyone. But I think it's an interesting choice to really seal in his backstory like that. This actually happened, and he actually is feeling heartbreak, and you can't romance him for that very reason.
I love that. I love that they did that with Deacon. It makes him a real, much more real character to me, and it gives a reason for. It's not just that he's trying to help, synths, and a lot of people think he is a synth. I'm not going to comment on that, but he's not helping synths because he's a synth. it gives a reason behind his actions and for his moral compass that I think really make him a real character. And it also balances out him needing to be deceptive and beguiling and messing with people all the time, because his world has been so destroyed, not just on an apocalyptic level like everyone else's, but personally. And that's why his damage comes out the way it does, makes him real.
That's true. I like it.
As far as a bald, sociopathic, cross-dressing guy can be.
It's interesting, though, because when you meet him in the railroad, he kind of approaches you as I'm not saying that he's not normal, but he really does approach you like a standard dude. And he really, at first glance, comes off as a normal kind of companion. Just run of the mill.
He is a normal dude.
But I'm saying, once you start learning more about him, you find out that, like you said, he's like disguising himself everywhere he goes. You find out he's following you the whole game. You learn about his backstory. It's like, holy shit! Like, this guy has been through hell and back again, and he does some crazy shit to deal with it. And I think it's one of the better built companions in Fallout 4. It's just I really like how Bethesda took him on.
I'm with you on that, man. I another sort of archetype that I used for Deacon, other than the Han Solo kind of smartassness and glibness, is because of that part of Deacon's personality where his whole world in the past was destroyed. And hey, Australia, listen up. You're going to relate to this one.
I'm listening.
The original Mad Max and Road Warrior films, the ones from the 70s.
Great films. Yes.
There you go. They're excellent. If you haven't seen the originals, people, if you saw the new one, hey, great job. Tom Hardy kills it. Great film. But check out the original old school.
Yeah. I've totally seen them before. They're great.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
Fantastic. I recommend them.
If anyone hasn't, the original story with Max, with the guy, why he became that way is he was a cop in the normal world. He had a wife and a child, and a motorcycle gang murdered his wife and child in front of him and took that away from him and killed him. And then the world went to crap. And so he, just like Deacon, just had lost the love of his life and anything worth living for. And that's why now he's this sort of rogue marauder in the future. That same storyline makes a lot of sense in relation to the Deacon things. And it's post-apocalyptic again.
It's funny that you mention that, because the Fallout franchise draws so heavily on the original Mad Max movies. So if you are a Fallout fan, watch those films, because you'll see a lot of similarities.
Oh, yeah, you're so right, mate. I mean, even the costuming, the dialogue, I mean, really, they did it first. You got to give them credit, man. The Mad Max films did it first, and you're absolutely right. Give yourself a treat, man. Get a weekend and get Blade Runner and get
I thought you
the
were
original
about to say,
Mad Max film.
I thought you were about to say something else. All I was get Blade. I was like, oh, geez.
Blade Runner and the original Mad Max, man. That's a solid weekend of film experience. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So really, I guess we can say, guys, a lot of this stuff, it's all derivative of everything before it. Like, a lot of people out in the community seem to hate on anime, and they only like games. And I'm not saying you need to embrace anime. I'm not huge into anime myself, but let's not hate on the other art forms. Not that you guys are, but some people out there seem to. Just because it's not exactly what we love right now in this game, the reason these games are able to exist is because the stuff that came before it, like anime from the 1950s that looks dumb now, or these films from the 60s and 70s, those things really were the impetus that made all of this possible. So it's good to embrace all that stuff and not hate on the other stuff just because it's not what you like,
It's funny, one of our hosts, Noah, happened to hate anime, got himself a lovely lady, she showed him anime. He likes it.
And now he loves it. Yeah, it's kind of like in Pulp. That's like in Pulp Fiction. There's a line in the Tarantino movie where I think it's either which character is it? Not Travolta. The other character, I forget. Who's the other actor in the film?
I don't know. I've totally seen the movie.
Sam Jackson.
It's slipping my mind, too. Yeah.
Sam Jackson. Yeah, Samuel Jackson. His character, anyway, there's these like frat boys, and they're about to kill him because they owe him money. And Sam Jackson has the gun to his head, and the guy's eating a cheeseburger. And he wants a bite of the cheeseburger. The guy says, hey, you want a bite of the cheeseburger? And he's like, nah, man. And he's like, why? And he's like, well, my girlfriend's a vegetarian, which pretty much makes me a vegetarian, too. And it's so true. Anytime you're in a relationship with somebody, you could say you hate anime, but if the person that you love is into it, it's funny how we change our mind.
Yep.
Yeah, my friend Connor, I've said this on the podcast before, so I do apologize to the listeners for repeating myself, but like he was so insistent that The Walking Dead was like a terrible show, and I don't think it's like as good anymore, but he was like in the beginning, he was like, oh dude, this show sucks, like you're an idiot for watching it. Gets a girlfriend, a couple months deep, he is a ginormous Walking Dead fan. I was like mind blown. I actually like got irritated with him. I'm like, dude, I've been saying to you for years that this is a show you should try. It took this girl like a couple
Yeah, but
of days.
you weren't a cute girl, Matt.
I am a good friend with great entertainment recommendations, and I was like, come on, man, you can't leave me hanging out to dry like that.
Oh
so
man,
funny.
it's funny. See, the Australian men, they are impervious to that. They don't bend, man. Their will is ironclad. He would not be bent. He's not doing the anime thing, man.
Actually,
I want to see if your girlfriend has convinced you of anything, Lone.
Okay, well, like my girlfriend tries to convince me of Taylor Swift, and that's just not happening.
Oh,
She's just watching me right now. Hello.
I had a girlfriend. She was hell bent on getting me to like country. I stood my ground, man. Fuck no.
How'd that go?
Okay.
You know you love
I think
girlfriend.
I think, yeah. I'm single now.
Your ex-girlfriend, you mean? Yeah.
I think I took the path that Lone did, though, and I tolerated it. When we were in the car and stuff, I'd just be like, okay, I'll deal with it. I'm not going to get mad. But, like, if it was my turn to turn on the tunes, you bet your ass. We're listening to my music. We're not listening to country. I'm not saying, though, to those of you who listen to country out there, I should have said this beforehand. It's not like I think it's, like, awful music or bad music or it doesn't have any, like, sentiment behind it. It's just I don't like listening to it, you know. But I'm not, like, Mr. Dubstep, and that's why, no. Like, don't get me wrong. I like electronical music and all that stuff. But because a lot of people who hate country are, like, ginormous dubstep fans. And it always seems to be the trend. And it's not that for me. I like dubstep, but it's just like...
Is that a thing, really? A lot of country fans are dubstep fans?
No. People who don't like country.
I was like, really? The EDM world and the country world have crossed? I missed that. Where was that on American Idol?
Never. Yeah, but like, you know.
That's like, my dog is dead.
Terrible music. Terrible music.
No judgment. Oh, man.
Anyway.
You guys, man, I have my my psychiatrist appointment in 15 minutes. I have to get to. I'm going to be late. I should probably wrap it up.
No worries.
I love how you guys didn't even laugh. You're like, that seems totally possible that he's going to his psychiatrist appointment in 15 minutes.
The things that were said at this podcast.
Oh no, that's terrible.
No, but thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
I've had a smile on my face this whole podcast. My jaw hurts.
Yeah, my cheeks hurt.
Like, oh man, this has been good.
I got to tell you guys, this has been so much fun. I really, really appreciate it. And you know, it's so great to be able to jump on with you guys and be able to have this much fun and talk. And then the people are going to get to listen to this and hopefully get some enjoyment out of it as well. And then as soon as I shut this off and go down the street to go grab a coffee at the coffee shop, people are going to be really rude to me, push me. I'm going to get called a jerk and shoved to the side. So it's nice for a few minutes to feel like I'm not going to get back into the real world where nobody gives a crap about Dion and I'm in the back of the line. So thanks for
You're welcome back at any time, honestly, Ryan.
Of course.
Really.
Honestly, it's really nice to have made so many more friends being part of this community and not to be the actor guy saying all this crap. But honestly, I was just an awkward kid growing up who dreamed of doing this stuff. And the fact that everyone's been so embracing and then I get to do it, it's a real gift. So thanks for letting me be part of it all. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to thank us, you know. You're just a part
Well, that
of
wasn't
it,
to you, Matt. No, Matt, that wasn't to you at all. That was for everyone else out there.
Everyone.
I wasn't singling myself out. Did I single myself out? I hate when I do that. Did I do that?
No, seriously, Matty, you've been great since the very beginning. I didn't know what was going on Instagram, and I reached out to you because you seemed like you had a really strong knowledge out there, and you were really helpful and embracing me from the beginning. And I really do celebrate the people out here like you who have a strong presence, who use it in a positive way. So that to bring people together through anything that we all enjoy, because at the end of the day, you guys, it's a game. So it's really great that we have fun and not hate on each other for it. So you're doing a good thing out there, man. So anything that brings people together is good.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will be like, oh, dude, you just Bethesda fanboy. And I'm just like, I'm an optimistic guy. And when you come here, you're not going to hear me fucking crying about something, you know? Hey, what a good change, right?
Yeah. Hey, Matty,
Anyways,
Matty, and anybody else out there, the next time anybody hates on anything you're doing, Matty, or anybody else out there who's listening, when somebody else hates on their thing that they're doing, ask them, well, since you're hating on my 250,000 followers and all of the work and time that I put in to help this community and better it, what station are you running and what are you doing to make it a better community? And I bet that with your life? Yeah, what are you doing with your money besides?
It's such a waste of energy because I know if they're spending their time doing that, like, I'm not saying that every hater has no life, but really, if you're spending your time and I see you consistently coming back to me to talk shit, I know the answer to the question. You're not doing anything. I know you're not doing anything. I don't have to ask.
Anybody out there taking your time to hate on anybody, before you go ahead and send that message, maybe just think if you put that same energy into creating something instead of trying to tear something down, you might actually be a happier person.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep you, Ryan, because it seems like you got an important appointment. But the way we'd like to end every podcast is to have the guest actually end it however they see fit. So Maddie and I are going to stop talking, and then you can end the podcast however you want. You got freedom.
Okay, well, your request is my...
I love putting people on the spot.
Boy, that's a lot of pressure.
No. You said you love this, though, man. Remember, you said you were a big fan.
However I want to end it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's do this then. I'm going to crawl up. Hold on. There's a ladder here on the side of my building. I'm going to crawl up to the edge of the roof here. I live on an 8-story apartment building. I'm going to crawl up on the edge of the roof and stand on the corner, and I'm going to yell out this line, this Deacon line. Hold on. Okay.
This is great.
Crawling up here. Okay. Well, I'm out on the edge of the roof now. It's cold out here. I'm in my tighty whities. It's freezing out here. Hold on. Okay, I'm on the edge of the roof. Hold on. Let me get on the edge. Okay. Okay, I'm on the edge. Okay, guys. Okay. What is...